All right, and we are live. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I thought I would sit down and do a video for you guys and gals. Finished leg day. Of course, you guys have seen the vlog. I'll have some shorts up here in a bit. For those of you who follow that, you kind of know what I'm doing with the training. We know what's going on there. So let's talk a little bit about the whole MAHA thing, the Make America Healthy Again. Did I make this public? I don't know. We're about to find out. Hold on. Yeah, we're definitely public. All right. So hopefully we get some people in here in a moment. These never know how they're going to do. They can get hundreds of people. They could get 20 people. All right. But this one's a little early. It's a little early in the day. So the whole Make America Healthy Again. The reason I think it's going to go low carb and the reason they're going to push that is some of the stuff with RFK. And we have to be realistic here. There's a lot of different approaches to healthy eating. And I've tried to tell people over the years, look, you can go high carb, low fat. You can go higher fat, lower carb. If you keep it all clean, the main thing is you've got to cut the junk out either way. You have to. You have to. You need fiber and vegetables and stuff in there. Any of these approaches with whole foods can get the job done. We can argue a lot about which one is better. We can't be dogmatic about that. But what we have to keep in mind, when you're having a movement like this to where the American diet has gotten so bad that any change would be positive, the lower carb is probably the way you're going to see this movement get pushed. And I'm going to explain why. One, we have the ability to do it easily. We have the infrastructure, we have the land, we already have the animal populations to do it. And a lot of the junk that you are seeing that we're turning into our junk food could easily be animal feed. So you would just see more cattle grown on it, more chickens and dairy and everything done so that more eggs, more milk and things are produced. And we have enormous amounts of farmland. I think compared to a lot of other places with different population densities, like they haven't driven through the Midwest, they haven't driven through Texas. They don't realize the enormous amount of farmland and stuff we have available here. There's a reason we export so much food. So we don't have the same production problems you have with these things that the rest of the world does. So for us, we already essentially have the infrastructure in place to just simply take a lot of this stuff that we're turning into junk food and turning it into livestock feed. And we would see that. And people say, but would that be healthy? It's like it would be dramatically healthier than what we do. Okay. Because again, as long as you can get people to eat vegetables with it, I mean, realistically, if we cut out all of the refined sugar and people just quit eating that, well, what are we making most of it out of here in the US? Now we're making it out of corn, which gets subsidized. That can be animal feed. It really can. That can be animal feed. So we get rid of that. Same thing, a lot of the grains that we're heavily refining, if that just got pushed more into that, you could put larger amounts of the population could go in that direction just fine and just simply eat more meat, more milk, more eggs and vegetables. And if you really look at it that way, and we can argue about optimization all that we want. But if you look at that and said, if the average American right now, all of them, just across the board, just went on that sort of diet, and we have the infrastructure to support it, and they essentially went to meat, dairy, and eggs and vegetables, would our health problems dramatically reduce? Would our obesity crisis go away? I think the answer is yes, especially if the refined sugars are gone. Right? If that just quits being eaten, the refined carbs, and then we quit eating the extra vegetable oils. I mean, we got to get people away from the butter is going to be the hard sell to this movement. But again, this is why we need people who are in the fitness world, who are jumping into this conversation, having this conversation, because if we do that, more of us can talk about this. The policymakers and people involved with these things who are going to have oversight may listen to some of us when we say, look, if we just get away from the butter, the rest of this isn't bad, and just push out with vegetables. And objectively speaking, if the U.S. population went over to just simply eating that way, saying, look, let's eat lots of meat, vegetables, eggs, dairy, and just live on that and cut out all the other refined junk, most of these problems would go away. Would we necessarily push ourselves into being where some of the blue zones are and stuff in terms of that? No, probably not. But our problems, like these problems we're having due to diet, 80 to 90% of them would disappear. They would disappear by simply doing that. And the thing is, what people have to remember, you're not going to convince the American population to do a very low animal diet. You're just not. It is not going to happen. So you've got to look at your different options in terms of health. Jeff says, good evening, Coach. Good evening, Jeff. You have to look at your different options in terms of the various approaches to healthy eating that are available, and look at it from the perspective of which ones are you going to be able to sell to the American population. Which ones are you going to have the infrastructure in place to support? And I think that's the direction you're going to see it go for those reasons. It will be an easier sell. The problem is it will end up being very dogmatic, like all these things do. Instead of saying, hey, this is one possible option, you're going to see it push in dogma. And this is something I've realized one of my biggest mistakes as a fitness influencer, in terms of it's always killed my own outreach to some extent. I'm the least dogmatic in terms of diet. In terms of the compared to the really successful people, they buy all in, and it's literally this or nothing. This is evil. This is bad. This, and they sell it as an ideology. And these are people with millions of followers. And I've had too much of a habit of saying we have different options. We don't have to be dogmatic, as long as some of these general guidelines are followed. There's a lot of different successful approaches, but people don't buy into that. It's hard to get people to buy into that, because the average person is never going to be scientifically literate enough. They're never going to be educated enough in nutritional science. They're just not. So that being said, they almost have to be, and it's unfortunate, but the people have to almost be sold an ideology, right? And so I think that's what you're going to see happen, and it will still serve the greater good, because even if the population is sold that lower carb approach, as long as you keep them eating vegetables with it, as long as you keep them on top of the vegetables with it, it's going to be okay. So people are eating cheese and spinach omelets compared to what they are eating, it's going to be miles better. Right, it's going to be miles better. And and that's largely how I'm eating these days, just that I eat a lot of vegetables. I do a lot of avocados. You guys, you see my food, right? You see my food on social media. I do a ton of avocados and spinach with all of my other stuff. I do a ton of it. All right, also a quick reminder for those of you who follow these, if you'll follow me on the Facebook page, it would be appreciated. Hey, Jeff, your comment didn't even cost me a like. But yeah, you're right. This magic supplement will change your life, and it's just amino acids. And it's all nonsense. I get it. Protein shakes are great, but any amino acid supplement at this point is nonsense. All right, we even know essential amino acids literally produce less muscle growth than whey protein do in the lab. Like, this is documented. Proteins are the way to go. Generally like RFK, but concerned that Saldino may be part. I'm hoping not to. He's on the MAHA website and being normalized. Not appointed, but nominated. It would be a mistake to add him. I agree, Matt, because Saladino is a problem, right? Saladino is absolutely a problem. Because again, the issue here is not that they're pushing certain things, it's that they need a certain balance to it, right? They need a certain balance to it. Hello, Mehdi. And again, therein lay the issue of if you have them up doing that without pushing vegetables, it's going to be a disaster. If they push the lower carb animal product approach, which is viable in America, people have to remember that. They bring up this stuff in a global manner, and it's irrelevant. It's not relevant culturally or economically or infrastructure to America, because that's what this topic is. And even my channel, guys, my channel is 70% USA. Like straight up, and almost everyone else is British. The UK, which really could do some of that, and then literally 3% of my followers are in other countries. So a lot of this, what I'm discussing, this is purely in an American context in terms of our nutrition, our fitness, our economic stuff as it pertains to all of that. right? Maddie says your biceps. Honestly, my biceps are my worst muscle, but I appreciate that, Maddie. I'm trying to make them my best muscle. I'm training them twice a week, training them very, very hard, trying to do full range of motion quality work, with progressive overload, training to failure or very close to failure. So I am working them up. I am training my biceps very, very hard. So again, tomorrow's an arm day because they do need to come up. So it's like I have back and bicep day on Tuesday, and then Saturday is a full arm day for just biceps, triceps, forearms. So again, until I get the arms in a better place, but I'm training everything super hard. Everything's being isolated, and we're doing tons of conditioning, all that, which is why I'm getting leaner. You guys saw the thumbnail; those are screenshots from this week's training. It's all coming along. But what do you mean? Hey, Medi, I'm not going to answer stuff. You clearly don't follow my channel. I'm sorry, dude. I can't. I just can't, dude. You clearly don't follow my channel. I'm talking about you do realize I've deadlifted over 600 pounds at least 20 times on camera. Maybe more. I might have done it more than 20 times on camera. So just saying, dude. All right. I pulled 635 with a stiff bar before on camera. Heaviest I pulled on a deficit is 625, standing on one of those red 2.5-inch plates. Though those are at my peak strength. William says, hi, what's up, William? He's a regular. So that's kind of my take there. Medi, I've pulled, well, no, because unless you tell me I have to do it in the next week. Before I turn 40, I've got to do it again. I've already pulled 600 at 47 though on camera. I think I've only done it like one time though at this age year, right? Jeff, did you know I've never hit a 700? The best I ever, lifetime best before YouTube existed was 655 when I was younger, in my 20s. The best I've hit on camera is 635. As a raw lift with no straps and just chalk. So no, I've never hit a 700. Don't think the American public care about COs versus chocolate when those chicken nuggets start looking suspiciously like bull testicles, right? Right? Oh man. And like I said, there's going to be some complexity in it. They're not going to get it all right. But the fact of the matter is, it's going to have to be sold as an ideology, okay? And that's the simple reality. That is the only way publics in general buy into nutrition. It's got to always be sold as an ideology, not as an, hey, Jeff, we don't discuss that sort of nonsense here. Thank you. I appreciate it. But it's going to have to be sold as an ideology, which means it's not going to be 100% accurate. Okay. Hey, Jason, I'm planning on losing weight next year. Would a 4 to 6 month cut or going well, a 12-month slow cut be beneficial for health? I don't know. Depends on where you're at, but generally, slower cuts are probably going to produce, the best results in terms of sustainable results, to where you can even gain muscle and retain muscle during them, as well as being more sustainable and keepable. Because honestly, bigger deficits from faster cuts not only slow your metabolism down from the fat loss, they're harder to sustain. Whereas in an easier cut with just whole foods done for a long period of time, it's just easier to maintain. It's just not as stressful. Do you think fast cuts result in more muscle loss? I don't think I know they do. Chris, I just heard that sugar is the only thing that cancer cells feed on. No, that's not true. So again, glucose. But here's your problem, Chris. Do you have cells in your body that can only feed on glucose also? This is why we run into a problem with that discussion. So your solution, what's your solution? because your nervous cells in your brain are glucose driven. Your brain will be dead in seconds. Like your brain cells start dying within seconds without access to sugar. Your solution is enhanced insulin sensitivity so that your other cells compete with the cancer or the sugar. Because you can't get rid of the sugar. You're dead without it. And I mean dead instantly. Like it's just not, oh, you're going to die next week. No, you're dead that day. That's it. So this is a problem. And I'm not saying that. Some cancer cells can only live on glucose. There are cancer cells that can live on ketones also. It depends upon the type. Keeping in mind, people throw that word cancer as if it's one thing. They don't realize there's dozens of types of cancers. They're not all the same disease. They're categorized as the same type of disease. But brain cancer and pancreas cancer are absolutely not the same disease, and they're not the exact same type of cell. Does that make sense? The type of cell that the cancer is in absolutely can be a completely different disease. Well, literally in terms of can that cell absorb ketones for fuel or only glucose? Like even its fuel source. It depends on that. And some cancers are 100% lifestyle induced. Others have a more genetic component to some extent. So no. Stop thinking of eating the sugar is the issue. Okay, so that's where people are messing up. I mean, sugar is going to be there. And technically, table sugar is only 50% glucose. The other 50% is fructose, which is actually a much larger concern. All right. Thoughts on the new Japanese studies, Coach? My thoughts are that there's studies being done in Japan on something. Okay. I mean, I don't want to say that I'm not aware that there are studies being done in Japan every single day, but I'm assuming you're talking about something specific that I haven't read. I don't know. Where are we going with this? Matt says, added a set to my all quad exercise today, squats, leg press extensions, was wrecked for an hour after that. I work out tired. Yeah, sometimes how it works. I've been good, man. I got up and did a leg day, and then I went and did my walk. I did a 50-minute walk. It was all on Facebook. I had Abby hopped in there for a little bit. Jeff, what's a recommended frequency that a dedicated enhanced lifter should visit the doctor for general health checks? I don't know. Whatever you're comfortable with. I'm weighing around 90 kilograms, aiming for 75 with 0% fat. Yogurt also be a good option for cutting alongside the type. I mean, sure, to some extent, yeah. 15 kilos is a lot. You don't try to do that in 6 months, dude. You're going to lose a lot of muscle. That's a good, if you want to do that correctly, that's like a 1-year goal. Chris said, that's what I was thinking. My grandpa ate lots of sugar and sodium. He was very active and repeatedly beat cancer. I know the brain eats sugars. There are differences between fruit. Yeah, Chris, I have entire extremely lengthy videos explaining the difference between refined sugars like sucrose and high fructose corn syrup and the way that we digest and utilize fruit sugars. They're not really comparable. We might as well be comparing the apples to oranges, but it's actually a more extreme than that. As far as our bloodstream is concerned, due to the digestive process, they're completely different substances. Even though chemically there's a lot of overlap at the level of the food. But it has a lot to do with the way our gut flora ferments things depending upon digestion and clearance time. Again, I've made really detailed videos on this topic. What do you think your max sumo deadlift would have been your prime if you did them? I don't know. I've pulled 600 sumo before. Off of a 2-inch block though, and I pulled 600 sumo in a suit when I was only deadlifting like 570 conventional. I tried to root out playing around with a single fly suit with some bros of mine back in the UK. Um, I've always been stronger conventional than sumo. So Jeff, when I was training exclusively sumo for just a little while, I think for like 6 months on camera, I only did sumo, right? Like on this channel. And then I went and tried a conventional, and my conventional was automatically stronger than my sumo after 6 months of no conventional. It's just my personal leverages. Does working out legs help with more intimate things? I've heard yes, it can. Hey, Jason, is it healthy to take a day or two off from working out? Yeah, why wouldn't it be? Who has a superior gym culture, UK or US? Well, I haven't been in the UK in 10 years, so I don't know. Keep in mind the US is larger with a larger demographic and a larger varied gym culture, so possibly the US overall. Right? So I guess I don't really understand your question. This guy says, so I hope you're at least in that protein threshold, coach. I have no context for that statement, Don. Right? Could you explain what you're talking about, please? Because I don't have a context for your statement. I have no idea what you just said. UK has better boxing gyms. Maybe, William, I don't know. Who's got the most world level boxers between the two? So I guess that would be your answer, right? A lot of the boxing gyms in the UK don't focus on weightlifting, though, from what I'm hearing from some of my clients who box over there. So I'm going to say I don't know if that's true. Although I did train at a boxing gym for a little while there, and there was powerlifting teams were training out of there too. Hey, dog, you're just dropping Randall. Could you? Okay, I'm saying this very politely. The guy who's I hate dog. Could you start everything you're saying over with a coherent train of thought, start to finish, so that I understand what you're asking me? I eat at least 300 grams of protein a day, though, generally. I think UK, based on the population, is a good amount. Yeah. I know you guys sometimes you're trying, but sometimes I don't have a context for your statements or questions. Like people just kind of give fragmented thoughts, and I have no clue what they're asking me or telling me. And that's okay. It's the nature of a live stream. Chris, no, I'm not interested in going into a farming business with anyone. Right? Could it be something to where we could consider a sponsorship business venture? Maybe. But I'm not going to go help you raise cattle, dude. I've worked cattle. I don't intend on doing that again. I thought about that at one time. It was kind of a running thing. Like, maybe I'll do a buffalo ranch. No, I don't want a ranch ever again. Coach, are there any nutrition differences between different egg colors? Well, I'm not even going to go down the list. Okay, I actually know quite a bit about this topic. I'm very familiar with the breed specifics of eggshell color, including even the Americana chickens, because we used to have some. So I've raised green egg chickens. I've raised brown egg chickens. Nutritionally, no, there's no real difference. The shell color of eggs is determined by the breed of chicken, and it just has to do with the protein for that. It doesn't necessarily affect the nutritional content of the eggs. The chicken's diet itself has a larger impact on it than that. No, I'm not going to play the guitars, dude. This is Fitness Channel right now. I'm skipping that. All right, but they're there. No, I like bison actually. Oh no, I mean, Chris, if we're talking a business sponsorship, though, I'm thinking, sponsorship, like a paid endorsement. But I mean, I consider free steaks. So, I mean, again, as I grow my businesses, I may look further into actual, business sponsorships one day. Um, Keep in mind, I mean, as my channel grows, that's what I have to start looking at with it. All right. Because I have a feeling as I keep improving the physique, this is going to keep growing. My subscribers have had a nice little trickle up over time, finally again. And I have a feeling once I start looking really good, which if you guys look how I'm training, how I'm eating, what I'm doing with the cardio, it's going to happen sooner rather than later at this point. Um, I was never a chicken farmer. We just happened to have chickens as part of what we did when I lived in the country. It's not a chicken farmer. Like I've never had more than 30 chickens at one time. That's not a legitimate business, right? Um, you just take the surplus to the farmer's market once a week when you do that. Usually how it worked. But even then, you're selling them at $2 or whatever for a dozen. So you're talking like a $50 or $100 a week profit is a side thing just from your chickens. I have a supplement company based on Nevada. Would you be willing to promote it for commissions? Maybe, William. I mean, you'd have to contact me through an official thing and show me and discuss it with me. Maybe if it's good products, protein or whatever, but I don't know. I'd have to really think about that. I'd really have to think about it. I think the diet and lifting advice is coming full circle. A lot of it, yeah. Jeff, I mean, I terminated one that I had already a long time ago. I've turned down a few, actually. Coach, you get better quality chicken, eggs, meat, feeding grains. Well, no, this is technically fitness related. Generally, free range is going to be better, so they're going to eat some insects. So one of the things that I noticed when we had chickens, when you're in that sort of environment, you're usually doing free range chickens. Like they'll return to their coop at night. You just let them out in the day. And if you have a safe area, predator free, they're good and they'll come back. Sometimes you get their flax seeds, and we used to do that sometimes. So you get the omega-3 eggs, throw some flax seeds into their laying pellets and stuff inside the coop. But usually, if they're free roaming, you're going to have orange yolks instead of yellow. So, and if they're really free, like you're saying, they're out there scratching and eating bugs and stuff, along with all the plants, because they're going to eat grass and plants and bugs and all those things. You're usually going to get orange yolks. Hey, William, Turkestone's a scam. So, no, I'm not going to be interested. No, Jeff, supplement sponsorships are usually free supplements and cash. So, the one that I had at one time, yeah, I was getting a couple of tubs, at least one full tub of protein every month, plus several $100s per month. Like in direct deposit every month. Does orange yolk mean it's a healthier chicken? It's going to at the very least have more omega-3, possibly some other vitamins. But yeah, no. So when we did that, it's again the free range. You get that. You get the orange yolks. All right. Chris says free steaks and cash, count me in, right? Orange yolks equals getting yolk. Yeah, I mean you're going to have higher vitamin content for sure. I don't know that it comes over to being better fatty acids, because when you get the omega-3 eggs that I buy a lot of times, they don't necessarily have an orange yolk, but I think it's largely a higher beta carotene content. Lacey, yes, for my lower body stuff. But Lacey, the biggest part of throwing with the conjugate back in is the general physical preparedness. I'm averaging 45 minutes a day in my 50-pound weight vest of walking, and I'm doing most of it on camera between Facebook and between YouTube. I'm live streaming it. So that's been a big part of it. I added box squats and good mornings back in this week. My upper body is all pretty much just power building and bodybuilding now. So a little bit of this, basically the little bit of the squat related work is some elements of conjugate. But I'm keeping with the idea of saying, hey, we do need these things. We do need a high level of general physical preparedness, a high level of conditioning like I used to have when I was stronger. And I've noticed, again, it's improving my ability to do the bodybuilding stuff, just like we used to do, just like Louise Simmons always told us it would. All right, it's stuff that I'm looking back and realizing things that I quoted Louise Simmons on 8 years ago. They're true. Right? They're true. He got so much stuff right. And a lot of his stuff that I repeated, I'm realizing when I cut it out, I lost certain benefits, and I still see clients who benefit from it and people I know. So I'm definitely working those back into the whole power building approach. So a lot of what I'm doing is looking at, what I know from my own success coaching people, looking at what I see truly successful long timers in the game doing. So you see Mike O'Hearn, perfect example. Love him or hate him, the guy's got his stuff dialed in, right? He's got it dialed in. So taking elements of what he's doing with what I do, incorporating, and then looking back at things Louise Simmons taught that we know worked. No, on bench, no, because quite frankly, bodybuilding gave me a bigger bench than conjugate did. Right? Bodybuilding type work, just doing a little heavy work. Hey, Leroy, you approach me like a human being. Like, don't act like a weird, creepy, screaming something crazy about fake Merc or justice for Nova or something crazy. Sorry, I should have even said that. Like, don't run up on me screaming something stupid and you won't get clapped. I mean, it's really not difficult, dude. So, Leroy, all you have to do is like everyone else does in the whole world. Oh my God, are you Jason Blaha? That's usually what people do. All right, great. Fuck, I shouldn't have said that. Let me just get rid of your ass. Sorry, Jeff, you got to go. My bad. I shouldn't have even done that. Just if you guys forget I said that. All right. But Leroy, it's really, really simple, dude. Right? It's very, very simple. Just do what everyone else does. Oh my God, are you Jason Blah? That's usually like what most people do. And then usually I laugh and deny it. I'll probably be like, oh no, dude, I'm way taller and more jacked and less fat than that ugly bald dude. I'm way better looking than him. So that's usually my response. And then they start laughing, and then I ask them how much they deadlift. And then I chat with them for a minute about their training. That's usually how it goes 9 out of 10 times over the years. Or they literally walk by in the grocery store and go, dude, I love your videos. It's stupid all the time. It's just how it goes. I've learned to deal with it over the last 10, 12 years. All right. Good idea doing the heavy LRs at the end of the workout, I think. I've been doing 2 sets at the end. What do you mean HLRs? So it's too much for me to read through. Got it. The UK boxing is great timing. My brother moved to the UK and is looking for a boxing gym. Which one did you train at? I wouldn't necessarily recommend the one I was at. There's issues with Pat. But how would I know? I mean, dude, for all I know, the guy who owned that gym is dead or something. He was an older guy, and this is 2024. And the UK is a big country. Like, I mean, you're really going to have your brother travel 3 hours a day to go to Pat's gym, who might not even be alive. Come on. Do you think the same can be done for the front squat? No, the front squat will always be a supplemental lift, really, Lacey. I mean, unless you really want to do speed front boxes and do speed boxes against bands and chains, and it's still going to be good mornings are going to be a big part of it. So mainly what I'm doing is box squats and good mornings again. And then I threw in some speed work today with chains with speed boxes and stuff. Gavin says, so Jason, what's up? Hey Jason, big fan. What equipment do you recommend buying for someone starting to train and build muscle at home? Obviously a good rack. I think a reverse hyper would be a wise investment. Good bar, right? Good bar. I recommend the Texas power bars and stuff. Failing that, road bars are pretty good. I've owned both, had a lot of luck with both brands. King Bruce says, should you train on days you only got 4 hours sleep and have to work a 10-hour shift after? I would, dude, I'm going to say that may not go too well. Oh, HLR's hanging like roses. Yeah, Matt, I was doing that for a while. I just started it again this last week. When I was doing them at the end of every workout, it actually worked out pretty well. That's why I've incorporated them again. What's a lift that you recommended 10 years ago you don't recommend today? Ever consider working high school or college strength training? No, why would I? I mean, high school is different, but not really. I wouldn't make any money doing it. College, they want specific backgrounds that I don't have. So, no, the answer is no, I haven't. I have to go get a CSCS, and I don't want to go through all that nonsense for college football strength training. Lacey says, I really do. You mean on the front squats? I should have been specific. He lives in London. He followed your stuff back in the day, so I think he got a kick out of going to your old gym. Which one? The boxing gym. I don't remember the name. I filmed at it a little bit. It was Pat's gym. It was in Cheltenham. Hold on, let me look it up. Let me see if it still exists. Cheltenham, UK. He even had a couple powerlifting meets here. So the IPF president and his son for the UK actually trained out of that gym. All right, let me see. Let me see if it still exists. Looking, I don't know if it still exists anymore, guys. I remember that gym. That one used to exist. So, trying to look at the streets. And look at where it used to be. It's not showing on Google anymore. So, no, I don't think it still exists as a gym. Unless all these kickboxing gyms took it over. Hold on. Kickboxing. CD. Wait a minute. So it looks like I'm thinking all these martial arts places might have taken it over. Right? Okay, I think that's the thing. Yep. I think that's what happened. So let me look at this gym. Yeah, completely different ownership. So I think it may be the same building. It's looking like it. So it looks like, I think, CDA Academy took it over. So it looks like they bought it out and re-changed it into a completely different type of gym. So it looks like it's a kickboxing gym now. And there looks like there's another boxing gym that's turned into an MMA gym just like 2 blocks away, or like just down the street from it, like 3-minute walk, has also changed over that used to be a boxing gym. So, yeah, pretty much. William, would you ever consider training me in person? I mean, William, you could, instead of asking me that in public, you could get on Facebook on a real account or on Instagram, and you could ask me that and discuss it. Can you recommend some high quality melatonin? I want a super dose so I can make quality gains. I like NutriCoast. If invited, would you collab with Milo Wolf and Jeff Nichols? I don't know what's in it for me. Sucks it happens. Boxing gyms have it hard now. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with that in the UK. But it looks like all those boxing gyms that I knew about in that area, they've all gone over to martial arts. So, and it looks like completely new ownership, which makes sense because Pat, who used to run that, was a boxer. He was a retired boxer. So yeah, he wouldn't be involved in that. So odds are, if your brother or whatever went all the way to that gym, the equipment's going to be different. People are going to be different. There's probably not going to be a single person in there working for them who's ever even probably met me in real life at this point. So I don't know that it would be worth his while. Yeah, it looks like it's gone over to kickboxing. What do you think about the West? Is there a new situation since the last time I addressed it? Hey, for people asking another thing, if you just stick to fitness stuff will be good. Less popular. People who overbulk to cut, right? How big of a deficit? I don't know how big of a deficit. You need to slow cut. Hey, Riff, I told you this morning or yesterday on that to hire me as a coach. Your questions are too specific to your needs to answer in a general live stream. So you need to hit me up for a consultation. I already told you that, by the way. So, and other people told you that in the same stream. I remember your name in the conversation. So, Wes Watson charges $40K for coaching drop. Like what? What? You could afford to do a 30-pound bulk. You can afford coaching. All right. Yeah, it's like he said, Rick, get a job and pay the coach. I'm not even that expensive, to be honest, dude. I'm really not. So if you, and that's what I would tell someone, if you legitimately say you can't afford my coaching, my online coaching, because I get in-person coaching expensive. If you can't afford my online coaching, then making gains is probably way down the list of your life priorities at this point. I mean, let's just be realistic, dude. Just saying. You probably got, if you don't have $200 a month, which is my current special for the little holiday special I'm doing, if you don't have that, making gains in your physique is way down your list of concerns right now, dude. You should just work out and eat healthy and get your money up. Get your money right. Because that's not just not that much, guys. Yeah. All right. This business coaching. Hey, coach, Emma, we're not answering all that. I want this Wes Watson experience. You want the Wes Watson experience. Hey, he's only 10 grand. I have a personal trainer I see at least once a week, money well spent. Yeah. And Chief, what are you paying for that personal trainer? Because I don't think people realize how much in-person coaching costs. How can I get rich? Wes has the body, but if I'm wanting to look good, be healthy, and be strong, I think Jason is A+ in the field. I've seen a lot of trainers in Jason. I appreciate that, man. Jeff, yeah, $50 a session. That's actually pretty reasonable. That's not bad, dude. A lot of really good trainers and coaches I know charge more than that. So if you're getting good results on $50 a session and you're happy with it, and he's doing a good job, and you got a good deal, honestly. All right. What I will tell you is that trainer gets more experience, though he's going to raise rates on you. All right. All right. All right. What else we got, people? Hey, Chief, I'm not doing conjugate. I've incorporated certain elements of that back into my training, but I am absolutely not doing conjugate. Yeah, Matt says $50 rate. I know personal trainers. Yeah, I know a lot who charge $100 or more per session, like literally for 1 hour sessions. I've seen as high as $300 per session. Now, granted, that's on the extreme end. Leroy, thoughts on melatonin? I'm very pro melatonin, actually. I take melatonin. I'm a big fan. But yeah, Chief, we got the box squats. We started doing good mornings again this week. No, Emma, that's not. Well, are you talking about you to hire me is to coach you? I'm open to that. Like if you need help with that as one of my clients, sure, apply for it. And it's stuff we could do as a coaching thing. But I mean, you're gonna have to put in an application and a deposit and everything, just like everything else. Or you could hire me for individual consultation, video consultation calls to walk you through. And I've done that, by the way. I have done that in consultation calls. So you're not necessarily hiring me to coach you. You're hiring me for advice on the ins and outs of coaching and your own business, in which case you pay the hourly rate for the calls. Do you get a lot more people asking for training generally, like how the gyms hit? Chief, a lot of times, yes, absolutely. So just like the gyms, so there's a reason I run sales right now in December, because during December, I have clients who say, I don't need a coach for the holidays. I'm going to be traveling. So I tend to have more slots open. And then in January, I've had as many as 8 new clients come on in January, like new people out of nowhere. I've had that happen before. So, is there a max melatonin dosage? Leroy, by like 10 milligrams up, you're going to see more sides and maybe less benefit. I mean, people can take large amounts and see some benefit. I like 10 milligrams these days, but that's considered a high dose. Coach, do you think power building will die off? Not really. The old gym bro split never died, though, did it? It never really died. Tons of people still do it. Tons of people. I would say at least 50% of people who work out seriously still do a bro split. It never died out. Yeah, Emma, so go to Facebook and put in an application. And if you don't have a valid Facebook, because if it's not a real person, I ain't doing it. I'm not even going to reply anymore. So use your Instagram if not. But if you have a real Facebook already or a real Instagram that shows that you're a real person who's posted stuff for a while with pictures, send it over. Apply and we'll discuss it. For a client chasing the Hollywood type physique, would you do the 1 to 5 rep training of the main list, or you keep it all? I tend to do a top set for them. And then we do hypertrophy work around it. Would reaching a 225 bench and I usually don't want their top sets being much less than 5 reps. Most of the time, I'd like to keep around there. Hey, Riff, you've already answered all this stuff. We've been through this before in a previous stream. Sorry, dude. I'm just not doing it anymore. Would you consider me taking Adderall before working out impacts my gains? I don't know. Do you have a 2 to 3 session deals, or is it a retainer? So Chris, do you mean for the consultation, like the hour calls? I mean, you could buy several of them at once. Like I'm running a special this month at 50. Normally they're 100. I've been running them at 50. I've sold several actually. I've got one this weekend to do again. Did one yesterday. So you could buy 2 or 3 of those at once while I have the special, and then have them locked in, and I could do them a couple months apart or something like that. Did you watch the Joe Rogan More Place, More Dates? No, I haven't had time. How many of your clients are trainers themselves? My apologies if I missed the answer. At any given time, I would say it's varied a lot. I would say approximately 20 to 25% of my clients are personal trainers or coaches, at least part-time, on average. Right? Again, just a ballpark. It's been more or less at different times, but that's a good estimate. Was your typical routine to give you any free time? Right now, I'm doing all business stuff, so I don't have any free time right now. At the moment, I don't have free time. Everything I'm doing is business growth, other than my sleeping or training, and the training is all business. Jason is like a miniature economy. Like even this is business. Like these live streams, this is business. This is workflow. This draws clients, it draws revenue, it draws subscribers. So, do you think we'll ever get the call from Rogan? I don't know. He said my name before, so maybe. They do not recommend back off sets after heavy top set at West Side Barbell is a good way to get through more mile. No, because they do hypertrophy work, right? So it's what he used to call special exercises, right? So they don't do back off work. They ramp up to a heavy max and they jump over to other stuff, whether it's floor presses or dumbbells or good mornings or whatever, for reps, right? That's how they did it at Westside. So they do their speed work the same way. So for me today, that's essentially what you saw me do. Essentially what you saw me do today. I did a top single, then I did speed work with chains, and then I did all my rep work, volume work on supplemental lifts on machines. Chief, what do you mean? This is, how do you find the time to work? No, Jamil, I'm not doing that. Sorry. Nope. I mean, Chief, this is business. This is actual business. So that would be like me asking you, how do you find the time to work? They're like, well, when I get up out of bed, I go to work. Going to be starting Muay Thai and Jiu Jitsu for 3 times a week and currently on a 4-day split, similar to what you were doing a few months ago. How can I adjust my training and lifting to adjust the volume around it? A lot of my guys who are doing a lot of martial arts, I take them to 3-day training. That makes sense. Would it be too much to do a 3x3 at 80% after squat or deadlift? Hey, Bill, I'd be very, very careful with that. Westside does, yeah, Lacey is correct. Westside does 1 rep max and their back off sets are on different exercises. Yeah. So Bill, I don't know that I would recommend that 3x3 at 80%. What do you plan to get out of that? Yeah, I mean, if it was Rogan, Chris, I mean, sure, would I go on Joe Rogan for free? Of course. Am I going to go on someone's channel for free who has the same size outreach I do just because they want to chat or set up some nonsense? No, I would need to know what we're doing as a real collab, not some sort of gotcha moment. But that's what I mean. But again, if people who have created issues for me or have smack talked me, they're going to have to pay me. I mean, I'm sorry, that's just how it is. But yeah, obviously, Rogan, I would do in a heartbeat. But he's probably not, but I would do it in a heartbeat. Chief, whether you're trying to be sarcastic or not, yes, everyone who knows me says that I have an insane work ethic. So yes, I am known for that in all my personal real life circles. People who know me know me. I'm technically considered a workaholic. I'm not happy if I'm not being one. Like, I have to be a workaholic in order to be satisfied. Like, I can't, if I'm not that focused on doing something all the time, I get depression. So I actually have to have it for my own sanity, like my sense of well-being. I have to pretty much be a workaholic, and I probably get that from my dad. But I'm content when I do that. At what BMI level did you feel the best? I have no idea. We talked about 2 max effort uppers. You think that's smart? With Louis on that, you have to be careful with the double maxes. You've got to really know what you're doing in that system to do that. Yes, it can work. All right. Yes, it can absolutely work. I've even done it. I've programmed it. You've got to really know what you're doing on the recovery side, and you have to be in really good shape if you're strong to get away with it. No, I've never had an interaction with Joe Rogan. He said my name one time. Applaud the self-employed takes a lot out of you. It's not for everyone. Like, and I would say that to anybody out there in terms of running a business and being self-employed. In my case, I run a multifaceted business with multiple income streams. How do I put this? It is not for the timid. It's you don't have the same security when you work for someone else because you don't get paid sick days. There's no guaranteed income, and you can run into feast or famine stuff. You can have periods of time to where you're making less working 100-hour weeks than you were making working 60-hour weeks at a different point. So you just have to understand that. So the thing is, when you're self-employed, here's how I would describe it. The rewards can be vast, but you are always performing a trapeze act without a safety net. And that's the best way to describe it. But you don't answer to someone else. And that's a beautiful thing. Right? And it can be a very scary thing, but it can be a very rewarding thing because your fate is in your own hands, Right? Bill says, "Thank you. I'm just trying to decipher the book of methods." I have all the West Side books. All right. Ruby, I have never considered that and will never consider that. It's not even in the realm of possibility. All right. Well, Chief, in theory, I mean, I have to follow a lot of terms of service. I have to answer to algorithms. I have to answer to all those things for my different stuff. But I'm also working on some other business ventures tagged into this in the future that I'm not going to discuss ever in public. Hey, Ruby, I'm not going to discuss my personal life, and please don't ask me to leave the U.S. again. Last warning. Okay. I'm going to say that very politely. Don't ask me to leave America again. All right. There you go, man. There's a big difference between owning a business and being self-employed. Yeah, I mean, well, that's for certain parts of it, Chief. Keeping in mind, that's for certain elements of my business. I have like 5 different income streams. So, and they all kind of tie together. And it's all, again, a balancing act. And you never know what's going to hit or miss at any given time, right? And you just make it flow. But eventually it'll turn into other things that I'm working on, and that's okay. Right. Yeah, I have no intention of living outside of Texas again. Okay. All right. Chris says, yeah, I definitely think you have a high ceiling to tap into. Yep. Leroy, you said, do I practice manifestation? I'm not going to show you what that one says, but that's sitting on my desk. But yes, you might have saw the last line says, thank you, God. All right. Okay. I live in Las Vegas. Gun laws are good here. I'm not sure what your laws are there. But I have no intention of moving outside of Texas. It's just not in the cards. So you're full constitutional carry? Again, we need to stick to fitness questions. We're at an hour, so I'm going to go ahead and wind this down, actually. I just realized I scrolled past an hour. All right. So, well, I don't know. Maybe I'll run it a little longer. People are asking questions. I might run a little longer. All right. Leroy, I know I will be a multimillionaire. There's no believe. I know for a fact I will be eventually. All right. So, I gotta believe that Texas is a great state for fitness. Texas business, absolutely, dude. Absolutely. I mean, again, one of the reasons I will stay here, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, same here. There's no state income tax. All right. What else we got here, guys? Hey, Chief, I'm not going to discuss it at all. Again, if you don't tell people your plans, they can't interfere with them. So I've always been advised by other people who know me. They're like, historically, you talk too much. They're like, you need to either not say anything or you need to specifically lie. That's the advice I've been given by successful people. So if you discuss your business plans, make sure it's always a lie or a half truth. This is what very successful people have told me to do. So do you really want me to talk about it? Because it's not going to be true. So that's the thing. No, just keep it all to myself and the people who need to know. Yeah, William, the issue is definitely still federal tax. Like they get me bad. Hey Emma, I just told you I've been advised to lie every time if I discuss that. So I've been thinking about a basket weaving business. What do you think? involve a lot of textiles and dyes, and making baskets, fitness baskets. All right. Dang, William is rich. Right? Dude, William, I know about the federal tax still gets me super hard. My God, that's the problem with my self-employed stuff still right now. It's the IRS like nails me to the wall. Like literally, dude, literally, I'm one of those guys screaming abolish the IRS because of just how bad they get me. Like it's they go in with no lube and no reach around or anything. Like when you're small business or you're self-employed, it's bad. I would say that's the biggest downside. The biggest downside to being self-employed is dealing with the IRS. Like literally one of my income streams pays over 40% taxes out of that stream to the IRS every year. They get at least 4 cents out of 40 cents out of every dollar it makes. Just to put it into context. Yeah, just in Fed, man, that's rough. Honestly, it's a self-employed one though, right, William? Would there be a pocket change of you competing right now? Not at this exact moment, no. Yeah, William, if they're hitting you at 50%, I already know what your bracket is. Because I can calculate the bracket plus the 15.3% self-employed penalty, which I deal with. That's why, I get frustrated when people give me a hard time and they talk about taxes or whatever with me, and I'm literally sitting here paying a tax penalty for being self-employed. I pay more taxes than the people who hate on me, and it's just frustrating. They have no clue of how bad the IRS just F's me. All right. And again, you guys are if you're trying to give accounting advice, keeping in mind you don't understand all my income streams. It doesn't work like that. I can't incorporate some of it. Right, if they have a bunch of kids. Yeah, I have no dependents and I'm self-employed with 0 dependents. So it's, yeah. Yeah, you have to pay the employer's share. Exactly, Chief. Exactly. And it's that 15.3%. So for people who don't know that, this is fitness. So like your coaching and social media and everything. No, Emma, that's not going to work. You can't. It's not an option. Again, quit giving advice if you don't understand it. All right. So for those who don't understand how this works, this is fitness related. Let's say you guys are going to start your own fitness business and you're doing it self-employed. The normal tax bracket you pay another 15.3%. So that's not added onto your taxes, that's a cut. So if you make $100,000, so for example, if you make $100,000, you have that normal bracket you pay, right? You also pay $15,300 extra in self-employed penalty on that $100,000. And it's very hard to get around it with deductions or anything else. Like it's a totally different ball game on your deductions and everything, right? And there's no way to evade it. You'll go to prison. All right. Yeah, so people are unaware of this. They're unaware that that's how it works. So for me personally, huge chunks of my income get hit with that extra penalty. Yeah, dude, if I lived in Cali, it would be horrible. No, Emma, I'm not an accountant. Yeah, California would be way worse. Plus, the cost of living is higher. Right? Do you think being strong fit would be a benefit if World War III started civilization? Sure, of course it would. Right. Yeah, so me being in Texas offsets some of that, but I mean, it's still, yeah. So that's the thing. Anyone who's wanting to run a fitness related business, especially with social media, a lot of your social media is going to get taxed the hardest, right? There's not much you can do to shuffle coconuts with that. They're going to hit it. It goes straight to the IRS. So most of your monetization contracts with the social media platforms, they're going to make you file it under your social security number, your private one, right? So you're going to pay the normal bracket plus 15.3% on it. So let's say, for example, you make $10,000, right? 10 grand on your whatever, your Facebook, your YouTube. You're essentially going to pay the normal taxes on it plus another $1,500. So that's the issues you run into. Um, William, I do a lot of clever accounting, but you can only do so much, dude. Your problem is still that you already know the problem with that 15% in the deductions. If you're a small business owner, you already know the issue you run into. You're not going to knock that down that way. You already know that. Your accountant's already told you that. Best way to train for the bench press is to just get really jacked. All right. Yeah, Chris, but you can't do that. You can't get paid under the table of the shell company with certain things. Hey, Emma, you don't need to know who my accountant is. I'm sorry. I'm not giving any of that info out. You can go find your own accountant. So again, you guys are getting into complexities with this stuff and not understanding. I'm not dealing with enough money to make that work. I'm not making $10 million a year here. So that's when you start talking about doing this stuff with the shell company. That's not how it works, guys. Wow, you guys are asking. Okay, I'm gonna just be polite. No, guys, it sounds like a few of you should probably just go hire accountants. It's tradition to do what other YouTubers do and have film there and take pictures. Hey, Chief, I don't need you to give me business advice on how to run my stuff. Thank you. I already know how this stuff works and how deductions work. I appreciate your input, but I am fully aware of how to get the most deductions and to get it whittled down as best I can and how to shovel coconuts. It's just my point is it's still absurdly high no matter what you do. Hey, Leroy, you don't need to know my net income. Sorry. All right, so this is it. I'm going to go ahead and wind this stream down then, because this is not really what I want to talk about, guys. We've drifted out of fitness, and I'm going to start banning people, so it's just easier to just end it. All right, so in the name of being polite, we're going to go ahead and wind this down. So I hope it's been informative. I love all of you guys and gals, and I'll talk to you next time.